Hello, hello. Okay, let's start. Hello, everybody. How is thing? How are the things going? Happy Valentine's Day in advance. I hope you guys have something nice prepared. Um, Share me your plans on the Facebook group. Um, well, I'm gonna wait a minute and then we're gonna do this episode live. My hair is going crazy. Mm, mm. Okay, we're set. We're ready. Let's go. Welcome back to my podcast, The Journey of a Researcher. I'm your host, Dr. Kasturi Banerjee, and welcome to this live session. Everything that I'm going to talk about in this episode is also being recorded for the release in the Spotify and Apple iTunes. So if you couldn't join me today on the live, you can hear me on all those uh, apps. So we are good. So since tomorrow is Valentine's Day, I thought it will be so much fun to actually do my first episode for season 2 a day before. I think today's Galentine's Day, which is all the love you have for everybody else. So I really love Omaha. It's my second home. It has been so much fun. There are so much memories associated with that place that there was no other way to start this season by talking about how it was to move to Midwest after I graduated from ICER and the weird resemblance it had with Chandigarh. It was like, wait, am I in Chandigarh? But it's like Americanized. so, so it was really, really uh I think it was such a comfort feeling because when you move miles away from your home, from your country, you want something that's comforting. And Omaha, the first moment, it was comforting. So, okay, let's go back a little bit. I graduated from ISER Mohali in May of 2013. It was great. There were a lot of emotions, crying, farewell, saying goodbye to friends. I got to know about UNMC was through Mehak ma'am because their Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, now it's part of, I think, IGPBS program. I don't remember the full acronym, but it's now a combined program. But when I got to know about the graduate position, that time it was Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, and they were looking for grad students. And Mehak ma'am, since she graduated from UNMC, she shared that ad, and I reached out to her. I asked her about the college and how the program is, and she gave me really good information. So like networking 101 without knowing that's what it was called back in those days. And she helped me fill out my package, and even Dr. Amituli, her husband, he helped me a lot writing the SOP because before that I did try 10 more places in US, and I was not getting a lot of positive responses. So uh it will yeah I honestly was concerned, and my morale was a little bit down. I won't say little, it was down by a lot. And I was not sure whether it was because the I was not a good candidate, or it was because of how I was writing my materials. And Dr. Tuli, he really, really helped me in streamlining my materials, and he helped me with the SOPs, and he looked at all my packages before I submitted for UNMC. So, um, I think I applied probably like in January, and then I got the response around end of April. And I did get a response from one of the European university, and I compared their packages, like the stipend and the city that I was going to live in, and what kind of project it was. So at that time, I didn't know what project I was going to do, but I kind of looked at the department and the kind of projects they were doing. So, and because I already got a very good idea about how UNMC was and how the department was, I think I was already biased to join UNMC. So I accepted the offer. The I-20 and all the paperwork came like in a month or so. So yeah, so fast forward, I graduated, crying, saying farewell. My parents came. We packed up our stuff. I really, really didn't realize how much I have bought stuff in the 5 years I stayed. Like we had our own room, and it was not like a huge room or a huge closet, but still managed to gather stuff. Like I am so amazed. Like how did I do that? But after my parents helping me to go through my stuff, we packed it, came to Kolkata, spent 3 months with my folks, and I left for Omaha in August 18th. That was 3 days after my parents' anniversary, and it was their silver jubilee. So of course I had to be there. Like that was no question about it. So we did celebrate my parents' anniversary. It was so much fun, and then it was my time to leave for Omaha. Now, apart from what I have heard from Mehak ma'am, I didn't know anything else about the Midwest. Like, we all hear about the East Coast, which is New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Florida, and or the West Coast, which is California, Washington State, Oregon. Uh, when you think about Midwest, there's not a lot of people that know about Midwest. I think the two states that pop up is Illinois because of Chicago, and the state of Texas that a lot of people know. Um, and the next, so America is so huge that it's divided into 5 time zones. And so the east is New York, then we have the Midwest time zone, which is the central time zone. Then we have the mountain time zone, which is basically Denver, and so Colorado, the state of Colorado, and Utah, and all of those. And then you have the West Coast PST Pacific time, and then you have the Hawaiian time. So these are things I learned after I came to US. Before that, I had no clue. Um, so yeah, so when the people like my distant relatives and my friends, they were asking me, "What's Midwest? Where is Omaha? Uh, how far is it? Like, is it close to Chicago?" Um, that was a very difficult question to answer because they didn't know, and they were not sure is it like as big city as the cities we see in Hollywood, which is New York and California for the most part. Like New York City, that's also funny. Like a lot of people think that New York City is New York State. New York State is a huge state. New York City is part of the state, and New York City is very, very small compared to the whole state of New York. And the whole state of New York is very diverse. It has mountains, it has the city, it has beaches, it has islands. It has very rural parts and as well as very urban parts. So that's pretty much it for all the states in America. So yeah, so people didn't know, they didn't know. I think there were only few people who knew about Nebraska because of Big Bang Theory, and who watch Big Bang Theory, they know what references I'm talking about. I didn't watch a lot. I later learned that the female actress Kelly Cuckoo, the role she plays, she that character is from Nebraska. Um, yeah. So I booked the tickets and I was gonna fly. So I called the airlines just to make sure that all my bags were perfect and everything. They told me I could bring two bags. Showed up at the airport, they were like, no bueno, you only can take one bag. So I was literally repacking on the in the airport, on the airport floor. I was like, I need this, I don't need this. And everybody like I talked to, they said that Midwest is pretty cold. So what I did, I kept all the winter clothes and I took out all the summer clothes, because I thought when I'm gonna reach Omaha, it's still gonna be cold and I'll be freezing. Wrong. Wrong. I reached on 20th of August. No, yeah, I did. And it was freaking hot. It's like hot, like in Chandigarh hot. Dry temperature was in 40 degrees Celsius. I was like burning. I had a jacket on thinking it was going to be cold, as like I'm going to die. So yeah, so let me quickly show you guys. Okay, this is exclusive for the YouTube live people and people who are going to come back. For everybody who's going to listen to this podcast on the streaming services, you can just come back and check it on the YouTube channel. Yeah, so let me show you how far Omaha is from Kolkata. Yeah, this is Kolkata, and that's Omaha, like right here. Oh God, I have to. So you can see, I have another better tab to show you. So let me show you where exactly is Omaha. Uh, hmm, okay. Yep. So that, you see, this is Omaha. This is literally Nebraska. It's right in the middle of America. So all the area around here is Central Time Zone. Here is Chicago. Chicago is like 8 to 10 hours driving distance away from it. So this is where UNMC is located. So the so why did I say that? Hey, Omaha looks like Chandigarh, like Americanized version of Chandigarh. I'll show you right now. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. This is the fun part of doing live videos. Okay, so we all know how Chandigarh is laid out. Our ISER is here. This is the ACS Nagar. This is the current campus. I mean, we all know like Chandigarh is set as grids. So we have sectors and they are all square. All you need to know the intersection, and you're gonna reach Chandigarh pretty easily. There is no problem. Well, this is Omaha. It's literally the same. It's a grid city. All you need to know, the number of the street and the main street. So all the streets that are horizontal, they have names. And all the streets that are vertical, they have numbers. So you just need to know 72nd and Dodge. And there you are. 144th and West Center Road. There you are. So it was really, really similar, and I was shocked. I was so shocked when I uh when the first day I came to Omaha, and I was walking around and I was looking at the layout. It looked so similar to Chandigarh. I was like, wait, what is this? How is it so similar? And not only that, um we all know like the sectors in Chandigarh where rich people lives, the 5 cars outside the home and very big buildings. We know those sector 1, sector 2 people. And it's the same thing in Omaha, like there are certain blocks or like intersections in area where you have really rich people living, and they have mansions and like all the fancy cars laying like outside, standing outside their home. And then you have the university, and you have like a middle class region, like people who live in apartments or small houses. And I was, honestly speaking, that was probably the most comforting thing to see when I was exploring Omaha. I used to get on the bus. So thanks to Google Maps, I knew exactly which route to take and which area of Omaha it's gonna take me. So that's what I did in the first month, because we had our session started on 22nd of August, but it was very light at that time. The first semester is mostly class based, so you take classes with everybody else who have joined the PhD program at UNMC. And it instead, like, apart, and you were also rotating, like we were rotating 3 labs and stuff like that, so it was not as intense. And it was the ideal time for me to just explore the city and see how it is. um so I used to get on one of the public transport bus, and the whole like circuit, the entire circuit they used to take was close to like 45 minutes to an hour. So I used to enjoy that. I used to see how the city was, how the buildings were, and how big Omaha was. It was so much fun. Now, I'm gonna give a quick preface. I come from very small town. I grew up always in small town. I lived in a village in India. I am used to the quietness and sparseness of people. I The places where I grew, we did have like crowd and people, but only when there were big festivals and stuff like that. For most of the time, it was a very calm and quiet place. So I am used to the calm and quietness. I actually enjoy it. Big cities are not my comfort zone. And even right now, like I live in Stony Brook, Long Island, which is a suburban. It's not New York City. Like, I enjoy going to New York City for fun stuff, but I cannot imagine living there. So when I came to Omaha, it was perfect for me because it's just like that. It's a urban town. It has everything that you would need in an American city, or you could think in an American city, but it was not crowded like the major cities in US. Of course, there was theater, there are museums, there are zoos, a botanical garden, like you have stuff you can do, but it's not like in every single road intersection, or like something is happening every single day. That's not Omaha. So a couple of my friends and colleagues who came from bigger cities like Kolkata, New Delhi, Mumbai, they didn't like Omaha that much. Like, their first impression of Omaha was not that great because it was too quiet for them. So yeah, so if you are planning to apply to UNMC, and if you have accepted an offer from UNMC or UNO or any of the colleges that's in Omaha, there's Creighton University, and you are from big city in India, it will be a shock, sir and ma'am. It will be a shock. Okay. Because it's not that intense. It's a very peaceful place, um Okay, but not there is no compromise on the fun stuff. I went to the clubs. We had a really good Indian community, so they celebrated pretty much all the Indian festivals there. I also made friends there. I'm a big anime fan, so I was able to make some friends who enjoyed anime. And I went to NepCon, which was my first Comic Con experience. So yeah, as I said, there are things that you can do there, but it will be a shock when you first come, especially if you're coming from big cities. Yeah. So let me show you my campus. I'm pretty sure anybody who has worked with Mehak ma'am or have attended her talk, um, they know about UNMC. But let me just still show you because it's my alma mater. So that's Omaha. This is the downtown area. It's probably the most happening place in the entire city of Omaha, because it's the business district heavy place, and that's where all the clubs are. We also we, in the sense, Omaha is the host for the NCAA championship, which is the National College Baseball Championship. So state teams will come and play, and it's a huge thing. I was lucky to get tickets to one of them as part of a radio show competition. So it was free, and I got like front seat, and it's a different kind of experience. Like uh sports, I think when it comes to sports, it doesn't matter whether it's in India, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in any country, any part of the world. Like sport fanatics are a different breed. Like they bring so much energy to any game you watch. I've never seen a baseball game before, but I thoroughly enjoyed that experience. This is UNMC. That's the hospital area, and this is DRC, where I used to work, the Durham Research Center. I used to work in the first building called DRC One, and I was in the 16th floor, the almost topmost floor. And this is Mr. Durham, who donated, and the building is named after him. So it was so much fun in a sense. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about cultural shock. Mm, because I found so much similarity between the layout of Chandigarh versus Omaha. As far as spatial shock matters, I was not shocked, because it felt like deja vu just in America. Uh, but the shocking part were the people of Midwest. Okay, imagine in India, you're walking through a building, okay, and you see someone and they smile at you. What will be your response? You'll be like, why are you smiling? What's going on? Is something on my face? Or if they say good morning or good afternoon, we will be like, I don't know you. Why are you saying that? I remember the very first day I walked from the apartment that we were renting. I had two more roommates, and we were walking to the DRC one. So you walk through the campus. So the apartment was like at the boundary of the campus. So we walked through the public health building, then the Department of Medicine. So basically the medical building, and then you reach the research center. And as I was walking, I, of course, came across people who were all going the way. And every single one was, good morning, good morning, good morning, hi, good morning. And I was like, I don't know you. Why are you saying good morning to me? It was so shocking. And then when I was walking back in the evening, every single person who crossed my path was like, good evening, have a nice night, have a nice night. It's like, am I supposed to say something? Is this normal? It took me a whole week to realize that's how Midwest people are. They will greet you even if they don't know you, because that's how polite they are. It was it was really weird for me, cuz when I was in India, like, I avoided strangers. We are told to avoid strangers. I think we are told to avoid strangers no matter which part of the world you are. So, uh, It was very, very, very weird to just see that that's normal. And it's not just my college or my university, it was every single place in Omaha. Museums, same thing. Theaters, same thing. uh all these auditorium, same thing. Other campuses, same thing. Even like in grocery stores, everybody was so nice. I was like, I didn't know there were so many nice people in one city. And it's, and they don't see it as awkward, and they feel sad if you don't respond. So I got used to smiling and saying, I'm good, how about yourself, or same to you. It was so great. And that kindness not only was just in greeting and everything, it they it translated to other things as well, because I didn't have that much money when I first came, and the stipend took about a month to start because we have to get our social security number, get a bank account, and etc etc. So um I had a little bit of money that my parents gave me, and then my uncle who was in Canada, he helped me for a bit. So I used, that's also when I learned thrifting. So I used to go to thrift stores, which are the secondhand stores where people donate literally high quality garments and furnitures and electronics. Like, you won't not believe that these are donated items. They are that good, like that quality good. So, as I said, I didn't bring any warm clothes, like, sorry, summer clothes, because I thought Nebraska will be cold when I will be landing in August, and I was dying because I didn't have clothes. I didn't have too many summer casual wear. So I went to thrift stores and I bought these, and then I bought like few furniture, like study table and a chair. And I didn't have a car at that time. I didn't know that many people who can actually help me to bring stuff from these stores to my home. And I remember I was telling to the cashier that I am new here. I just moved like a week ago. And we moved into this new apartment, and I don't have a car. I don't know how I'm gonna take this, but I really need this table. I really need this chair. Um, uh, can you suggest me what I can do? And the guy was like, how far do you live? I was like, probably 5 minutes driving wise, because they were like on 36th Street and I was on 38th Street. And they're like, oh, that's like my neighborhood. I was like, yeah, um, in that way, yes. Then he said, wait for 5 minutes. He calls his friend. They're like, we will drop your goods at your apartment and we will even bring it up to your room. I was shocked. I, of course, I asked them, hey, do you need, like, do I need to pay for it? And they were like, no, you don't need to. Welcome to our neighborhood. We are just happy to see you. You already purchased everything from the store. We can just, it's like two streets. It's not even a problem. They came, they packed everything, they brought me to the home. They helped me decorate the entire room, bid me adieu, and left. Like, before I could even say like, hey, let me at least pay for your gas, they just left. I was, at that moment I was like, there is no way this will ever happen in India. Like, there is no way this will ever happen anywhere else. I cannot imagine that they just did this out of the kindness of their heart. And this is just not one incident. In the 5 years I have lived in Omaha, time and time I have seen this example. And not only in Nebraska, I have seen it in Iowa, I have seen it in Illinois, I have seen this quality pri- a lot in Midwest. There was another thing that I learned as I was living in Midwest, is the stereotype a lot of the East Coast and West Coast people have, because I remember I flew to New York to visit my cousin in Connecticut, and there was a guy sitting next to me in the airplane. Americans like to chat, okay? They are chatty people. All you need to do is like say hi, and they will have a conversation for hour as long as the flight goes. I enjoy that because I'm a chatter. I love to talk. I love to interact. Might not be a good thing for a lot of introverts, but if you're an extrovert who loves to talk to people, American people love to talk. Just start in a conversation. They will just take care of the rest. Um, and I was talking, and I said, "Yeah, I'm coming from Nebraska." And he looked at my hands. He looked at my face, and was like, "You still have all your 10 fingers." I was like, "Excuse me, what do you mean by that?" And he was saying, "Well, in Nebraska, it's a primarily farmer region. People are doing farming for generations, and there are accidents that happen in farms, and the stereotype is that if you come from Midwest, you're losing either fingers on your hands or your toes or your limb or something because of farming accident." I was like so shocked because that's such a unique stereotype. It has nothing to do with intelligence or anything. It's like, oh, because you work on farm, there's a high chance you might not have a finger or two. So I told him, no, I have all my 10 fingers, I have all my 10 toes, my digits are fine, my limbs are fine. And yes, I am coming from Nebraska, but I am a okay. Uh, and probably one of the reason I have such a high respect for Midwest and Midwest people is when I was lost in New York City and I asked for help, I didn't get a lot. Okay, please, people who are from East Coast, don't come at me. I'm not talking about everybody in East Coast. I know there are good people all over the world and all in all cities, but in my personal experience, when I first came to the East Coast to um, visit my cousin and I was lost and I looked for help, I didn't get it. I was not given directions. I was met with a lot of harshness. And because I was so used to the warm nature of Midwest people, it was a shock. Can't comment on the West Coast people because I've not met them, but it was a shock. So what? Let's talk about career now. This is the overall experience as what Midwest is, how fun Midwest is, how different Midwest is from East Coast and West Coast. Um, but not all Midwest is like that. If you go to Kansas or Missouri, which is Kansas City, whether in Kansas side or Missouri side, that's a pretty big city, just like Chicago, just like New York. They have a lot of fun stuff. It's pretty well developed. It has a very lively city life in that aspect. Of course, everybody knows Chicago, top notch. If you go to Texas, Houston, Dallas, they're also like that, very upbeat, a lot of high fun city life action. But what I'm talking about is are the other states in Midwest like South Dakota, North Dakota, Nebraska, Ohio. These states, they are not as crazy as or they don't have as big metropolitan cities as these other states, but the people there are really nice and it's a very safe place to be. I have only seen kindness. And if you get a chance, if you get accepted to one of those colleges, I will say go ahead. You won't regret it because when it comes to education, they are really good. UNMC is very well ranked. I was in the cancer program, which is number one in the state, and I think sixth US wide. There are a lot of donations that happen to these universities, especially in these Midwest states, is because there are probably one or two big university in the entire state. So for Nebraska, you have the University of Nebraska, which is the major state university. So all the donations come to here. And then you have the private university, Creighton, which also gets a lot of donations because they are really that good. And they are very competitive compared to other national institutes and state institutes as well. We used to have the Midwest uh, biomedical science forum, and they used to do like, okay, how many NIH grants or DoD grants did new UNMC get, Creighton get, compared to other big university, and both of these universities did really really well in those aspects. So don't get disheartened if you didn't make to the East or the West Coast University. These universities are really good as well. um, Also, what matters is the lab that you're working with. If the lab are publishing really good, they are have working on the upcoming science, challenging science, that's all you need for a PhD. you, the whole point of doing a PhD is learning things, getting yourself trained in skills that can be translated, both hard skills and soft skills, and developing a mindset on solving problems. So that's the whole goal, and you can do it in any US university. Um, there was one thing that was missing when I was there was the I won't say it was missing, it was not that prominent, which was uh non-academic career sources. So when I joined UNMC, the first 3 years, most of the conversation that were happening in campus were academic careers. But after UNIMED, which is intellectual property um, team, I think now it's like a registered company with UNMC, the came up, we started talking a lot about non-academic areas. So IP, patent lawyers, we started bringing in a lot of speakers who are in industry. And I know now Chicago has one of the biggest biomedical group, which interacts with industry. So these are like internships and fellowships opportunity created by the industry for people who are in academics, so that they can get exposure, they can learn how things work. It's biopharmaceutical, I think biotech as well. I will share some of these links in the description box of the YouTube, as well as in the description of the episode on the streaming services. You can check it out. So when I left Omaha, these things were up and coming. Now they are there. It's really good. Um, so if you're thinking about networking or learning about non-academic career resources, now Midwest also has it, and there has been actually an influx of industry coming to Midwest because the cost of having a business in the Midwest is far cheaper than East Coast and West Coast. Also, the standard of living in the Midwest is much, much cheaper than East Coast and West Coast. So a lot of businesses, biotech, biopharma, are moving to Midwest. So if you're looking for opportunities, internships, fellowships, training, and even like people to talk to, it's Midwest is now as good as East and West Coast. I will say that when you are choosing your colleges, look at the program, look at the people working in that program, see that the kind of project you really like or you really want to explore is the kind of project that's happening in the department, that the PIs are having funding. You can look it on NIH Reporter before even you apply to those universities, and make a conscious decision based on that. Don't fixate on being in a certain region, because the perk of networking is that even if you are in a location A, you can talk to people in location B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So use those skills. And if you do end up at UNMC or in any Midwest universities, it's really great. It's a very nice group of people. I have enjoyed it. Um, a lot of people might worry about the political scenario there. To be honest, I have never felt any different when I was in Nebraska. I never felt scared as an immigrant. I never felt scared as a brown person. I never felt scared as a Indian national there. Things will change. Things have always changed, and we can only look for better future. So that's where I'm gonna leave that. But when it came to my experience, I loved living in Midwest. I enjoyed staying in Omaha, and I am really grateful for all the experiences, connections, I and friends I have made both in UNMC and outside of UNMC. So with that, I'm going to wrap up today's episode. If you guys have any question, I didn't get any question when I posted the post last week, so I don't have too many questions to answer or at all in the listeners request section. So if you are watching it live, you can post a comment now and I can answer. Um, I will talk about my PhD journey separately in separate episode on how it was, things I had to do, and then some of the things to keep in mind as well if you are have conflicts or if you are looking for resources. So they will be separate episodes by themselves, and I'm gonna again put the ad or put the notification on the Facebook group so you will know when I'm going to talk about those topics and what I'm going to talk about. But if you have any question about Midwest, the difference of living in East Coast versus West Coast, you can ask me now. Okay, I'm going to just quickly say, touch upon the cost of living. Um, I'll give a quick example. When I was living in Nebraska, I lived in a one bedroom apartment and I paid $545 per month, which even included the pet fee because I had, everybody knows, I have two adopted cats. At that time, I just had one. And it included parking, heat, and all I paid for electricity and internet. So my monthly cost, including fooding and everything, was at the max $700 per month. Whereas right now, where I live, even though we are living in a very cheap place and our landlord is really great, but the average cost of living in Stony Brook is around, if you want to spend that same amount, like $700 per month, then you are living in a room in a big house. You cannot afford an apartment. And a one bedroom apartment here is at least $2,000. So that's the difference in standard of living between Midwest, or at least between Omaha, Nebraska, when I left, which was in 2018, compared to Stony Brook, where I live now, which is on East Coast. So um, I think I'm gonna wrap up this today. It was so much fun to talk to you guys. Thank you for everybody who showed for the live and joined me in this conversation. I know this is a little bit unique and different from how I've been running the podcast previously, but I think this is much more natural. As I said, the episode will be released also on the streaming services. So don't worry, you can listen while you're driving. You don't have to log into your YouTube and see my face. You can only hear my voice. I will be releasing the episode probably in a week because it will take me a little bit to edit out the awkward pauses and everything. Other than that, I wish you guys an advanced Valentine's Day. Enjoy the love that you're given and surrounded by, not only by your loved ones, your lovers, but your friends and your well wishers. I will see you guys in about 2 weeks with the next episode. And in the meantime, you can reach to me on the Facebook page of the podcast, The Journey of a Researcher. You can email me, The Journey of a Researcher at the gmail.com. And you can leave a comment here on this YouTube video and I'll get back to you. Okay. I'll see you guys later. Have a nice night and a good afternoon to all my American listeners. Bye. Take care.